There she is. That's Kesha with Blow. And I am about to blow a hardcore rant out here. I mean, this one's going to be a good one. I haven't done this in quite a while. So, I just read my fun story of the day about the labor, the lockout ending litigation thing. I don't know. I'm not going to get back into it. I don't want to talk about it. So, that happened last night and today, and on Thursday night is the first round of the NFL draft. Now, what we're not remembering here is that as of right now, there is no NFL season. So, with that in mind, you're drafting players that might not play until next summer, next August, next September, possibly. I mean, it's a very likely possibility. What if the same thing that happened to hockey happens to football? These guys won't be playing for an entire year. So, with that in mind, what about when next year comes around? Let's think of this here. Say Carolina takes Cam Newton with the number 1 overall pick. Andrew Luck goes out, has another great year, and Stanford wins another BCS Bowl. All right? So Andrew Luck decides to go out for the NFL draft. Well, Carolina has taken quarterbacks in each of the last 2 drafts with Jimmy Clausen and Cam Newton. So, how would the draft order for next year be determined? Would it be the same as this year, with Carolina 1, Denver 2? I forgot who's at 3. Think about that. What if there is no NFL season? How is stuff next year going to be determined? What about those players that are free agents now? This summer, they don't have an NFL contract, which means, they wouldn't have one next summer either. What about this whole restricted versus unrestricted free agent thing? Think about that. What if a person is in their last year of restricted free agent and next year would be an unrestricted free agent? That's another whole long, completely confusing process in its own. Now just think if that was to play out and there was no NFL this year. So you've got this great defensive draft class now that wouldn't see the field, and then college football next season is going to go on as scheduled. In fact, they're even thinking about scheduling on Sundays. That would be overload for me. That's a rant for another day. But now you've got an entirely new draft class coming in when there hasn't been football played for a year and a half at the national football level. So there you go. Think about that. Think about what would happen. Because now you'd have Andrew Luck was projected number 1 overall pick this year. And what if there's no NFL, same draft order, what would happen next year? You could have Cam Newton taking number 1 overall and Blaine Gabbert taking 3 overall. Where would the number 1 projected pick go? Because, they wouldn't have been able to play a season to get a new draft order. So right now, this whole entire thing is a mess. And I know I am in the minority right now. I really am. But I hope that the NFL gets a little taste of what happened to the NHL. Because the NHL currently is at the highest it's been since the strike. And you still ask 10 people, maybe 3 are going to say that they like hockey. That's how bad it's gotten. Before the strike, hockey was, I believe when Todd Bertuzzi attacked Steve Moore, I believe that was the number 1 story on SportsCenter. Now, if that was to happen, you're looking at 35 past the hour. Maybe a SportsCenter right now. People talk about it for a second, and it's done. The only reason it's getting on SportsCenter right now is because it's the playoffs. So, you know what? Right now, the NFL is in an absolute mess. In fact, in this article here, it says, what will happen, right after here, it says, Nelson DeFries are ruling to let the appeal process play out. What will happen in the next few days is murky, too. I would change that statement to say, what will happen in the next few weeks is murky. Because nobody knows what's going to happen here. Ultimately, football is going to be played again. When? That is the question.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long